So if you're like me, databases and Rails were kind of a foreign concept when I first started using the framework. It comes stock with one called SQLite 3, I think, and it's very perfect for local development, testing, all that stuff, because it's, I think, a flat file database structure. So, which means there's no like actual database you're piping stuff into. It's files, which is fast, but there's not a lot of services or anything out there that kind of promote usage in the production environment. So you're often led astray and realize maybe too late, or you're ready to push to Heroku or something, or maybe not Heroku these days. And you need to have like PostgreSQL or something like that. This is a little quick tip that I've very thankful to have in our arsenal when we look at Rails as a tool. If you go and see your database config, you'll see it's just by default running a bare bones new app. I just created this one called DB change. It's just literally giving me this stuff out of the box. I have no clue what it is, So I want to do PostgreSQL or MySQL. I don't know where you would use MySQL these days, but you could. Or even something else. I'm not sure. But the idea, most of the apps I've seen in the wild are usually PostgreSQL. To get to that point, you used to have to come through this file and edit it manually. And it felt like I was playing with like a time bomb or something, So from a novice perspective, I wanted something quicker. And luckily, I don't know, maybe 2 versions of Rails ago, maybe Rails 5 or something, there became a nice command that allows you to change your database in real time, so you wouldn't have to touch files. So if you run the Rails command, you'll see all the shorthand tasks. Maybe there's something else under the hood that does stuff in your arsenal, but you could run that and see there's a lot of DB scoped ones. So DB stands for database. The cool thing, I think, is being able to change your database type on the fly. This new one called DB System Change, I guess it's relatively new, is a new one that I found to be a lifesaver. So if you run this, it's not just like run this and be done. You actually do need to pass 2, so something like this, and then pass the database type you want to pass through. So PostgreSQL is what I'm going to change this one to, and that will allow you to do it. So if you run this, you'll see it's going to say there's conflict. Well, that's because I just created an app and there is a file that it is conflicting with. So you could either say overwrite or not, and that's super helpful if you don't want to overwrite it. But in our case, that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to say yes, or just a Y, and you'll see it update in real time. It also goes and add magic behind the scenes in the Rails gem. And you notice it updated the database configuration as well. So you could do this again if you wanted to MySQL. Same prompt. Goes back and does that. There you go. You want MySQL 2, I guess, in this case. And it's got its own gem as well. So my personal preference is PostgreSQL, and could not find MySQL. We might need to do bundle install first to go back. Wonder if that's true. That's new. I've never done the inverse of this, so yeah, we're gonna get errors. So I wouldn't recommend doing this, but it is something you could do. So products as a service, and push it to production, and you should be good to go and run Rails DB migrate. And that the database is not necessarily the first thing I think about. So later on when I'm building it, I'm like, oh shit, I need to change it to something that's going to be actually shippable. So this is one way to do that on the fly.